Welcome to a new episode of TTG Conversations 5 Questions video series. This episode will take us into the mind of Philippines Tourism Promotions Board and understand how the destination has been coping with the travel and tourism crisis as well as the future of inbound tourism it is looking to build. So taking us through this episode is Anthonette C Velasco-Allones, Chief Operating Officer of the Philippines Tourism Promotions Board. Anthonette has been leading the TPB since February 2020, that's last year. Prior to that, she served as the Executive Director to the Career Executive Service Board since 2007, where she transformed key programs on leadership selection, training and development for higher civil service. She has also held critical roles in the Department of National Defense and the Department of Labor and Employment. Welcome to the show, Anthonette.
Thank you very much, Karen, and my pleasure and gratitude to be part of your 5-question interview series today.
That's wonderful. It's a mutual appreciation for each other, I suppose.
Yeah, although I'm sure you would have preferred this to be face-to-face, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We miss meeting face-to-face so much, right? Over the past
same
year.
Same here.
Okay, I've got 5 questions for you, and here's the first, yeah? The Philippines has been in and out of the community quarantines throughout the pandemic, which must surely have, impacted tourism recovery plans. So how is the TPB working around these waves of movement restrictions, while at the same time motivate both industry players and travelers?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I must reply with, by saying that we, the TPB, actually acted with greater agility and creative innovation so that we would have been able to respond adaptively to the continuing changes in the community quarantine classifications. And I think even now, as I speak, we see a lot of countries also recently going again into stricter lockdowns, like your country in Singapore, and we've seen also Taiwan for the first time. So this is not something that's unique to the Philippines, but the way we are all responding is also something that's worthy of emulation, by continuing to explore new ways by which we will be able to support both the stakeholders and the travelers. For the Philippines, actually, for the TPB, we sustain a weekly chat among members. Like every Wednesday, we meet and just converse and share stories about best practices, how best to cope with these things, how travel agents are innovating in terms of being able to put together packages that will attract still, tourists within the country to travel domestically. Mm-hmm. And in terms of policy support, we make sure that correct information is out there. I'm sure you also experience the challenge of, combating fake information in the barrage of all this noise and a lot of news and information. We really want to make sure that the correct, accurate facts, information get out there. So the TPB launched last year our official Travel Philippines app. It's the hub it's the information hub that contains all the updated, relevant protocols, issuances of our National Interagency Task Force on COVID. And then we also, aside from these endeavors, of course, late last year, the TPB subsidized the cost of the RT-PCR for our domestic tourists. And we put up about 416,000 US dollars subsidy to fund this. And this has really attracted close to 25,000 domestic tourists visiting the destinations that have reopened within the country. So I think, Karen, it's really a question of being able to go with the flow in terms of there are stricter lockdowns, then we move somewhere else, but then always keeping in mind the safety, not only of our tourists and travelers, but the host destinations and communities as well.
Do you see the role of TPB changing as a result of the pandemic? You've given some good examples there about how you're supporting the industry, but how else do you see the role of TPB changing?
Well, the legal mandate of the TPB as the Chief Marketing and Promotions Agency for the Philippines has not changed because it is something that's fixed by law. But through the pandemic last year and even now as we speak, we thought, we did a lot of also of, organizational revisioning and revisiting the strategies. So for one, we really see TPB now not just as the chief marketer organization, but also a positive catalyst for many of the innovations that we need to do, particularly the shift to digital technologies and adopting ICT and the digital platforms, doing online marketing. This is something that not all of our stakeholders and even our local tourism officers were totally prepared for. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of capacity building going on and also investing on infrastructure so that both the hardware, the software, and the peopleware of pivoting to digital smart tourism would be covered by our stakeholders and the government side as well. Personally, I see TPB now taking on the role of a mediator, you know, like a mediator for convergence. We have launched local travel bubbles within the country, and those who have been quite ahead in terms of cost, investing on those costs, and having the right people in their organizations easily, got on board the creation of the local travel bubbles. But for those who were not in pace with them, there's a lot of hand holding and mediating in terms of being able to forge convergence. So we need to speak to the airlines, we need to bring in local government units, we need to bring in the hotels and then the properties in the area so that together we're able to create that and replicate the best practice across the country. We also need to perform the role of a synergy builder. I often tell our stakeholders, like this morning, I chatted in our Viber group, hey, the bubbles will succeed if we all work together. And so we need to synergize. What do you have to offer? What strengths do you bring into the group? And what are you willing to share in terms of, ideas? Because it always begins with good ideas. So aside from being a positive catalyst for change, the mediator for convergence, I really see TPB performing the role of a synergy builder across the industry because tourism is a sector that government alone will not be able to steer sustainably. It really requires the support of private sector and the other players in the industry as well.
That's right, really. The Philippines Tourism Board, Department of Tourism, has also identified dive tourism as one of the country's most bankable tourism products that will facilitate tourism recovery. Can you tell us a bit more about this dive tourism potential and how it stands out as an attraction in the post-lockdown world?
Yes, Karen, one of the blessings that we had last year was that the Philippines has been voted as the best diving destination in Asia. And we got like 2 awards in the category as being a best dive destinations. So you see, we pride ourselves with a very long coastline, about 59,000 kilometers of coastline. And we're really at the center of the marine biodiversity. We have numerous diving spots from the Tubataha Reef, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, to the various reefs. And it depends on the interest of the diver. We have diving sites that have, the sunken ships in Palawan, or you just want to see the natural reef uh, and richness of the diversity of the marine life beneath, beneath the water. So we have lots of that. And in terms of potential, well, the Philippines prides itself, despite the fact that we are in the typhoon belt in the region, but for the diving destinations, since they're also underground, diving is year round. The temperature of waters beneath down there is quite steady throughout the year. So it's a year-round destination for our diving enthusiasts. And of course, the 7,641 diverse islands within the country offer you as many as 7,000 opportunities to go for diving. And now there is heightened, I should say, advocacy for sustainable tourism, and that is equally true for dive. So we are in fact in dialogue with the diving communities so that we are in partnership with the locals, the guides in the area, so that the way we do dive is something that also benefits the communities as a whole in the longer term. And this can be done sustainably also in a way that we protect the marine forest, we protect the coral reefs, we protect the livelihood of the communities there in a way that affords them, an upgraded way of life so
Mhm.
that the way they perform the tourism jobs is something that's also aligned with the decent work or employment within the context of our sustainable development goals. We are also investing to have in place like the hyperbaric chambers because we want to have our medical and health standards also universally aligned and keeping with the standards
Mhm.
of the organizations that actually rate our diving destination. So these are the current initiatives to keep us competitive. And I think we are really uniquely blessed with the marine life that's really diverse and prolific, down there. Thank you, Karen.
That's wonderful. Can you tell us about other niche tourism offerings that are available in the Philippines that will cater extremely well to the predicted travel trends and needs in a post-lockdown environment?
Yeah, the consistent travel trend is that tourists and travelers are looking for outdoor adventures,
Mhm.
spaces that are quite safer from COVID because they have natural air,
Yeah.
and so they're
Spaced
strict
out.
for
It
the
was spaced
activities.
out.
Yeah, yeah. So if I may share, three of these niche tourism offerings include: one is adventure travel. So this is really a niche product for us because we're also blessed with eco-friendly tours we have developed last year in coordination with the various regional units of the Department of Tourism. Products that promote hiking, camping, mountaineering. So these are just activities that encourage being in the outdoors, as you say, enjoy or being spaced out and being surrounded by our fresh air and the greenery.
Yeah.
And we have a
Mm.
variety of destinations as well for this. Just 2 weeks back, in the northern Philippines, there was a bubble that was launched, which is called Summit and Sea. So it takes the tourists from the summits, the mountain peaks of northern Luzon, to the wonderful blue oceans of one province, which is really adjacent to the mountain. So it's like hitting the mountains and then take a dive into the sea. So there's the Summit and Sea travel bubble. Then we're also, of course, pushing for sustainable tourism and slow travel. So we want to promote experience to fully explore and appreciate the destinations, overall story. So this is like an example of this is allowing tourists to journey to the Banawe rice terraces, where you get to fully immerse yourself in this natural wonder of the world, and then you get to meet the local populations and be well grounded on their story as a people, and and having this immersive experience actually sometimes compels the tourist to not have the sense of urgency to finish their itinerary and actually spend more time with the locals and also exploring the food, the cuisines. And we're doing this in partnership with farm tourism groups. We have Gawad Kalinga in the Philippines that's also quite immersed in the farm tourism and having sustainable agri-tourism or agri-tourism, of course, in those areas where they are present. Then alongside this, we launched the Save Our Spots campaign. So these are really a campaign and advocacy that encourages the performance of small acts towards sustainable tourism and responsible tourism. And of course, we are also putting in place, in fact, we've started it, we call it the transformative journeys, which is akin to what we call the wellness tourism. So it highlights traveling to get away destinations, so affording the travelers time from the hustle and bustle of the urban city life and work related stress. So we see properties offering workations from from their resorts. So there are offerings for like cleansing and diets
Mm.
and detox
Mm.
packages. So and you can work from there. So we have very close to Metro Manila, we have like the Nurture Wellness Village and the farm at San Benito. So these are compounds, exclusive places that offer this kinds of experiences. Then this year, the Tourism Promotions Board is launching three banner programs. One is called the Hobby or the Weaving Promotion. So we're helping our weaving communities
Mhm.
whose crafts are dying. These are endangered artistic practices, and we want to have the next generation of Filipinos learn the trade and sustain this alongside our want to promote still our hilom or healing wellness and healing packages that prides itself with bringing to life and keeping the traditional Filipino hilot. So the thighs are known for a thigh massage. There's the Swedish massage. The Filipinos have historically, even before the colonizers came, have the practice of what we call hilot or healing. It's really unique to the Philippines, using like banana leaves and our coconut virgin oil for the massage. And it's you should come, Karen, and experience it, to recharge and renew your energies. And of course, part of our sustainable development program for the Philippines is the promotion of halal, which we hope to contribute in the livelihood of our local Muslim communities as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to hear about the development and the progress of slow tourism. We really need to move slowly and really savor the destination, and all the richness that it has,
Yeah,
and the really basic, back to basics kind of attractions and appeal of a destination. Hopefully, that's the
yeah.
post-pandemic travel that we can look forward to, huh, Anthonette?
Please come, please come. I think the pandemic has taught us how to take a good pause, right?
Mm,
So
mm.
we want to keep that pace in a way that benefits the tourism industry as well.
So true, so true. Now we've spoken a lot about the leisure side. So let's talk about, the business events aspect of the Philippines. What is in development and what can event planners look forward to in the Philippines in the near future?
Well, in the very near future, like within the year, we are actually hosting the World Travel and Tourism Council Summit this year. Did you know that? So the original date is October. So we're trying to monitor developments as the World Travel and Tourism Council also tries to track this to finalize the dates. But right now, the indicative dates are slated for October. And by holding the summit in the Philippines this year, we expect that it will highlight not only the capabilities of the country as an ideal MICE destination, but also in positioning us as a promising destination for tourism business investments, which are really key strategies for reviving the economy and, of course, generating jobs and rebuilding business confidence. In the years to come, and right now, as I speak, we are finalizing the roadmap for tourism. So we hope that this roadmap will be able to, draw the milestones for the achievements that we want to achieve in the MICE area. And we hope that we will be able to offer more options aside from Manila as a destination for our MICE organizers and travelers locally and internationally. So a good example and concretely we have right now is the development of our new Clark City, which is dubbed as the country's city of the future. The new airport, which is being developed by the same group of people that developed Changi Airport. It will be opened by June this year, and and this is the gateway to the new Clark City. Unknown to a lot of people, even within the country, groundwork is now being done for this airport to be for this city, New Clark City, to be developed within the vicinity of the airport. And this has like 100 kilometers of development, a little close to north of Manila. And this is 9,450 hectares, in terms of the development area, which is even bigger than New York's Manhattan. And we are really developing the area alongside multi-sectoral investment so that it will be able to provide pollution-free, vicinity through significant focus on pedestrianization. So less cars, more people
Yeah.
encouraged to walk. Yeah, and then the public transport, energy efficient buildings, then the public utilities using greener resources such as solar power, liquefied natural gas, and waste to energy facilities. So this is really the
A
green
green
smart
city.
city that,
Yeah.
yeah, that we expect to develop. So just like the effort being spearheaded by Singapore towards having smart, resilient green cities. So this is a concrete example, Karen, of that direction in this particular part of the Philippines in Clark. So as we have this development, by January, Hilton Clarkson Valley Resort, sorry, last January, the Hilton Clarkson Valley Resort opened its doors to the public. So it has 308 bedrooms. It has 1,751 square meters of event space. Marriott Hotel also started to operate actually 2 years back, and it has expanded to offer more event spaces. And then the Luzon International Premier Airport Development Corporation, as I mentioned, along with the Changi Airports Philippines, PTA Limited, is ready to operate the Clark International Airport. So the new passenger terminal will be open by June, and the operational capacity is about 4.2 million passengers a year, to a maximum of about projected 12 million passengers per year. So there are other infrastructure developments that are being invested on by the government and the private sector to really support the various amenities required for an ideal MICE place. And so we hope to be able to join at least the top 10 MICE destinations within the region. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking us into the country, into the future plans that's coming up in the Philippines. Thank you so much, Anthonette. That's all the 5 questions I have for you. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Karen. And again, our gratitude for this opportunity to have this conversation with you. And as we end, I reiterate our prayers for you to remain protected through the pandemic.
Yeah.
We keep for your safety and good health. And we hope that when this is over and the sun rises, you will wake up in the Philippines. And we hope to host you here.
We will meet in the Philippines, yes. It's always more fun in the Philippines, yeah.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. And to everyone, take care and stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.